Hello everyone. In this video we will discuss about radiation induced carcinogenesis. In my previous videos I discussed about carcinogenesis due to microbial infections and also due to chemicals. You can watch those videos also. Going to the radiation carcinogenesis. Now radiation can lead to not only carcinogenesis but many variety of things like cataract and also acute radiation syndrome. But here we will discuss only about radiation associated with the cancer. So you know it is very early that radiation discovery was associated with cancer. As example, the Madame Curie and her daughter both died of leukemia because of the radiation exposure. And also in the history we know that the bone cancer is associated with the radium dial painters. So now going to the radiation induced carcinogenesis. Firstly, the radiation induced carcinogenesis can be due to the UV rays of the sunlight or can be due to any ionizing radiation, that is electromagnetic or particulate radiation. They can all lead to they can all act as carcinogen. Now as an example, we can take that UV rays are very much associated with the skin cancers, and ionizing radiation also they lead to many variety of cancers. Now going to the firstly we will discuss about the UV radiations and the pathogenesis behind its role in the carcinogenesis. Now UV radiation, they are mainly implicated in skin cancers, and the skin cancers, they are squamous cell carcinoma, we have basal cell carcinoma, we have melanoma of the skin. These all are associated with the exposure to the UV radiations. But the degree of the risk of cancer and the type of cancer depends upon many variety of things. It depends upon the type of UV radiation the person is exposed to, the intensity of the exposure, the quantity of the melanin. It's different in white skinned people, it's different in black skinned people. So the carcinogenesis of UV radiation, it depends upon many of the things. And a very example, if we talk about non-melanoma skin cancer, that is squamous cell carcinoma, it is associated with total cumulative exposure to UV radiation. That means the daily exposure to the UV radiation. The person who is daily exposed more to the UV radiation is prone to non-melanoma skin cancer. However, the melanomas are mostly seen with intense intermittent exposure. Daily exposure, the total accumulative exposure is not associated with melanomas mostly. It is the intense and intermittent exposure, like it takes place in sunbathing. That is, the exposure should be intense and it should be intermittent. Now going to the firstly the variety of UV radiations. We know that UV radiations can be divided into three wavelengths. There are UVA, there is UVB, there is UVC. They all have their different wavelength. And out of all these, UVB and UVC, they both are mutagenic. And we will talk that UVB is mainly responsible for the cutaneous cancer. Why? Because UVC, though it is a very potent mutagen, but it is not significant because it is filtered out by the ozone layer, the sheath around the earth. But the concern that after the ozone depletion is now taking place, this UVC can also lead to many different type of skin cancers. Now going to the pathogenesis behind the UV rays and the skin cancer. Now it is mainly due to formation of pyrimidine dimers in the DNA. Now what happens is normally UVB radiation leads to formation of pyrimidine dimers in DNA in a normal person also. And this type of DNA damage, when the pyrimidine they form dimers in the DNA, this form of DNA damage is normally repaired by a pathway which is known as nucleotide excision repair pathway, in which the wrong nucleotide is excised and the DNA repair takes place. But after the excessive sun exposure, the there are lots and lots of DNA pyrimidine dimers formation. There is increase in the formation of pyrimidine dimers, so that the capacity of this repair pathway is overwhelmed. It cannot handle so much of the pyrimidine dimers. And now when the repair is taking place of this DNA, the DNA containing the pyrimidine dimers, the error prone DNA repair mechanism continue to take place. The repair is taking place, but the repair which is taking place is now having many errors. It is not completely safe, and these errors lead to formation of cancer, because the cell is now surviving, but it is surviving at the cost of genomic mutations, which was due to ineffective or error prone nucleotide excision repair pathway operation. Now, going to the importance of this, we can easily know the importance of nucleotide excision repair pathway in a patient's. We have a hereditary disorder in some individuals known as xeroderma pigmentosum. Now in this disorder there is higher frequency of cancers when we see, because of the similar mechanism. Because in xeroderma uh, pigmentosum, what happens is that the various proteins which are involved in nucleotide excision repair, they are inheritedly lost. Some proteins they are missing, then therefore because they are missing, the repair is always defective, leading to increased incidence of cancers in such patients. Now going to the second variety, that is the ionizing radiation. Now ionizing radiation can be in the form of X-rays or gamma rays, or can be particulate like alpha, beta, or protons, neutrons. They all are carcinogenic, but they depend on duration of exposure and many more things. Now the example here we can take, very important example is of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because after the atomic bomb which were dropped over here, there it led to a very marked increase in leukemias. Initially, there were increase in leukemias, especially AML and CML, and later the solid tumors also began to show up. The tumors of breast, colon, thyroid, and lung, they were after late period. Now, uh, in the ionizing radiation, if we talk about in journal, the X-rays, the gamma rays, they all lead to mostly leukemias. The leukemias are very common in patients exposed to these radiation. Also cancer of thyroid is common. Some other tumors common are breast, lungs, and salivary gland. However, we must remember there are few tissues in the body which are resistant to the neoplasia, like skin, bone, GIT tract. These are somewhat resistant to the radiation induced neoplasia. This was all about the radiation induced carcinogenesis. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching this video, and ask any query regarding the topic